What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 13 of the Add a Zero Challenge, where we try and take a $10,000 live poker bankroll and run it up to $100,000 playing live cash games. Now we're on episode 13 and we are down money right now in the challenge. We're starting the bankroll with $5,731. Gonna be playing some 2-5 at Playground Poker today. Hopefully today goes a little bit better than some of the recent sessions. I know what happens in real time. You're about to find out. First hand of the session for all of you. We have Ace Queen, Ace of Diamonds, Queen of Spades. We're going to raise it up to 30 in C2. And the big blind calls, the straddle folds. We are going to go to a flop here, and the flop is Queen, Jack, Jack, flopping top pair, top kicker, but on a paired board. Feel okay about our hand at the moment. We get a lead out from the big blind to 60. We're not happy with this. Our hand is great. We definitely can't fold, but I'm not happy when I see the lead to 60. I raised to 30 pre. It's a pot size lead, basically, just under pot size. There's 70 in the middle, 72. So I think the strategy is clear. Call, right? And you're actually going to see me play really fast in this hand, because basically my chance is they either have a jack and we're going to lose the pot, or they have a bluff. And I want the purpose for playing fast in this hand is to keep things emotional. This is like an old trick that I learned back when I played 1-2 a lot, you know, before the stream started 9-10 years ago. If you act quickly in hands and people are sort of like acting impulsively, they just kind of keep going with it, right? You know, bet, call on the flop. They'll bet on the turn fast, call, and they'll bet the river usually. So what it leads to is typically, from my point of view, smaller sizings, which is what we want here. And we want their bluff frequency to remain high. So I'm going to play this hand really quickly, if I remember correctly in my head. Let's see if I'm right. Ace of the turn. Doesn't really change much. They bet 80. I call quickly. There you go. You see, want to keep it fast. Want them to bet small in the river if they're going to bet, and I want them to continue bluffing sometimes. Deuce of clubs at the end. Not a great card, right? Backdoor flush possibly gets there, but it's a jack or something else, basically. Now, I go for a small bet here. When they check on the river, I really do think that a jack is going to bet, so I think we probably have the best hand here. And I go for the small bet size, thinking like the only chance we can get paid off here is from like a worse queen. Like, that's really the only way. So I go for a small bet. I bet it quickly to try and stay in that like emotional state. Quatre-vingts. Wow. Flex in the French. We show the ace queen. My opponent shows the king queen flush. Crazy, right? Crazy hand. Now, the king queen makes sense. You know, we're actually ahead that whole time, so that's nice. When the flush comes in on the river, I think they can get some more value from their hand for sure. But yeah, very unlikely that we're beat when they check to us on the river. So it's just kind of unfortunate for us. We lose a $300 pot maybe or something. Next hand. Jack 10 of spades. One of my favorite hands. We're going to raise it to 15 here. Get a call from seat 3. 15 call, raised to 80 from the small blind. Now we are in position here, relatively deep. I think Jack 10 suited, we get to peel one off. So we're going to call. C3 calls. And we go 3 ways to the flop with the beautiful Jack 10 of spades. This is where I wish I was really deep, but we're not really deep, you know. King 10-7, we flop middle pair. Our opponent bets 75. Very clear answer on the flop. There's no point in raising. We're not trying to bluff here. We have a middle strength hand. On the weaker end of things, we don't want to inflate the size of the pot. We just call here and go to a turn. It sucks having a player behind, but I think the sizing is small enough where it's very clear that we continue here. The turn is the 4 of clubs. So they bet 150 here on the turn. And with this Jack 10, we're in a pretty terrible spot. Theoretically, our hand is okay because there's 390-ish in the middle, and they bet 150. We're in position with another street to come. and we need 29 or 30%. We're ahead of their bluffs, right? We're ahead of ace queen. We're ahead of ace jack. We're ahead of queen jack suited if they decide to have that hand. We're ahead of a hand like 5-6 suited. We're crushed by a hand like ace king, like king queen, like king jack especially. Theoretically, from a math point of view, because I know this opponent's good, like we're pretty indifferent. We're a flip as to whether we want to continue this pot. I decided to make the call, but we're never planning to stack off here. If the river's a deuce and they jam, like of course we're folding. It'll be the worst hand that we continue with here on the turn for sure if we decide to continue. It's a big if. And we call. We're not happy. Not happy. We call. River's a jack. They go all in. No. This is... Listen, I know what you're thinking. Holy smokes, you improved to 2 pair. But think about it for a second, okay? What do we beat? What was our thesis on the turn? We beat ace queen. We beat ace jack. Right? Those are the main hands that we beat that are 3-bet bluffing, or a queen jack suited, or a 5-6 suited, right? Like those are the hands that we beat on the turn. So in the jack river, we've improved to 2 pairs. But what do we beat now? Think about the sizings as well. This is really important, right? And I think if our opponent has ace king, they're almost certainly going to check the river. They're not going to go for this this shove, probably like into 450 or so. I can't exactly see the stack. Looks like about 500 actually on the end. So ace king, I don't think is going to value bet, right? Ace queen has now made a straight. Ace jack is probably not going to turn itself into a bluff. Backdoor clubs, so ace high clubs have just made a flush. Even though this card looks like it improves us, I think we have to fold on this card. And yes, I understand it's annoying because it's like, wait, you called with a weak second pair on the turn. You made 2 pair on the river. Why call on the turn if you're going to fold on this river? Because this card completes their bluffs. Shuts down some hands from bluffing to where their value hands are essentially winning here, and they're going to win too often. And, sets are obvious, right? Like, when they have a set, they have a set, and it doesn't matter. So I think I have to fold to this all in. Against a good opponent, Like against someone else, it might be different depending on if we think they're really loose or really tight. We wouldn't call on the turn if my opponent wasn't good. We fold. Now, our opponent shows a pretty crazy hand. Shows queens. So we did, in fact, get bluffed. Ace of hearts, king of clubs. We're going to raise up to 45 as we're in for 19-10 here. After the raise in early position to 15 from seat 9. We get a call in seat 7. And a back raise to 160 from seat 9. I decided to just call with my ace king here. I think getting it all in with ace king is not going to be so good when we're 160 blinds deep in these positions. I think it's just too deep to get it in. So I think flatting is probably best here. And maybe keep the other player in the pot where we're going to have some hands that we're dominating. C7 shoves for the remaining chips. Door is closed. 187. So we go 3 ways to the flop with about 570 in the middle. And flop is ace 6-7 with 2 diamonds. They check. We want to value bet with our top pair here without the flush draw. We bet very small. 1/6 of the pot, basically, with not a lot of money behind, right? We've got about 500 back. We got a pot size bet. Ace king against an unknown hand. 6-7. It's 6-7. Oh, man. I forgot about this session, man. And I think there's a good reason why. I think I have the coolest piece of poker software you've ever seen today. It is called Hybrid Poker. Brand new piece of poker learning software where you test your score against myself, against Daniel Negreanu, against Bill Perkins, and see how you score against the 3 of us, as well as other poker players as well. But Hybrid Poker learns about you, the player, this is really cool. As Hybrid Poker gets to know you, it's going to tell you what to work on. There's a link to the IQ test down below. Try it for free. I think you'll like it. So try it out. Ace king again. Ace of spades, king of hearts. Maybe this one is the one. We raise it up to 20 in early-ish position. The French lessons continue at the table. We get a call on the big blinds, and we are going to go to a flop here. Ace of spades, king of hearts. I believe heads up. Flop is queen, queen 9. We're going to c-bet 30 here into the pot of 45. We're going to call 4 spades on the turn. We decided to keep betting here with the ace-king. Putting some pressure, I guess, on diamond draws, spade draws, and small pairs. It's a bit of an optimistic bluff, I think, in a heads-up pot. Because it's almost like a value bet against some hands, for sure. Jack 10 and king jack and king 10. I don't love my hand choice here. So let me break down this hand here. It was based on a live read. This hand is basically based on a live read in that they were talking about their name, Jean-Claude, and they don't speak any French. But so they were having this like big conversation essentially while this hand was going on. And I didn't think it was possible that they had a queen and they carried this conversation on the flop the way that they did. Queen, yeah, so excited for the king. Yeah, just drawing dead, by the way. It's fine. Just calling it off with ace high. Moving on to the next hand, ace 8 of spades. We raise it up to 25 here in what must be a straddle pot, I think. Yes. Mage makes it 80 total here, I believe. So we call, and we go to a flop here. Jack 10, 9, 1 spade. This is a very interesting hand. We flop the open ender and the backdoor flush draw in a 3-bet pot, right? Mage bets 100 into a pot of like, you know, about 170. But let's try and hit our hand, and let's see a turn. Turn is the jack of spades. In my head is like, good card for me. I just picked up the nut draw. We're playing aggressive. And mage bets 165 here. 1, 2, 360 in the middle. So this is about a 1/3 of the pot size bet-ish. I think the answer is clear for us. We should go all in. I like the all-in bluff here. I do go for the all-in shove. Mage thinks forever. Thinks for a very long time. And calls with kings. He calls with the kings. So we're going to run it 3 times. 3 times. We talked about this hand after, actually, and I think Mage, like I did a breakdown of the stream, basically after to the camera. He said that he thinks he should probably fold his hand in hindsight. I think he should too, for what it's worth, but it's not a disaster, obviously. You know, he's got like an overpair. He's got 2 outs, and clearly I've shown the ability to bluff. We win 1 out of 3, I think, here. Was that 1 out of 3? Yeah. And that's the end of the session. So, I mean, this is one of the worst sessions of the challenge so far. Flop strategy changes, pre-flop changes, and I'm hoping this challenge keeps moving in the right direction. So that's the adjustment going forward, right? I appreciate all of your support, and we're going to start next episode with $3,981 bankroll, minus $1,750. Tough day. Nonetheless, thank you all so much for watching. That's it for today. Until next time, we'll see you later. Goodbye.